Okay, here we are with common error number 2, what I call the release. Most people in golf, when they learn to play, tend to hit the ball to the right, or they become slicers, if they're a right-handed player I'm talking about today. So a right-handed player most of the time tends to hit the ball to the right or slice the ball to the right. And the reason that happens is because the club face is open coming into the ball. So what we need to do is find a way to give us a good grip, as we talked about in the last segment, but we need to work the hands a certain way to make sure that the club face is actually closing coming into the ball. Closing meaning the club face turning over to the left. Okay? It's kind of like what we call if a door opens and closes. A door opens and closes. That's kind of what the club face should do in the golf swing. So let's talk about the release of the club face. I've developed a little training aid here to help you. If you take a golf glove, it can be a new or an old one, it doesn't matter, and you put a hole in the Velcro part of it and stick a T through like I've done. I put a hole in here and then I stick a T through there like such. Then you're going to take that glove and put it on, and you're going to practice the grip that I just showed you. Remember, the grip and the grip pressure are extremely important in learning the proper golf swing. But if you're a slicer, I want to make sure I show you what the club face is doing through impact. And here's the purpose of this. I'm not going to hit a ball, but I'm going to show you what the club should be doing as I'm swinging it. And notice that the T here is pointing out straight from the back of your left hand. Okay? So we're going to take our time and make sure we get a good grip, as we learned in the last segment, and a good grip pressure. And the feeling that I want you to have with this training aid would be this, that on the backswing, the training aid, the T, points slightly up in the air. Now, not totally straight up in the air, but just slightly up in the air, okay, because we don't want the club face to open too much. So we're going to have it in that position. Coming through, the release is called the club head actually catches up to the hands and rotates the club face down. So the back of the left hand, where the T is, should point down to the ground coming through. So that when you're coming through the ball and making contact, the club face is turning closed by the back of your left hand turning down to the ground. So the feeling would be that the T would point down to the ground as your club is swinging on this side of the ball. So it would kind of look like this in slow motion. Back swing, down swing. Watch what the T does coming through. The T starts to point towards the target. Through impact, it should point at the target and then down to the ground. So on this side, the T should be pointing down to the ground. There's a great little training aid to help you with your release. Watch your grip pressure. Remember, if you're holding on too tight, the hands will not do that. The club head will not be swinging freely. But most people hit a slice because as they're coming through the ball, the club face is opening, and the T, if you're doing that, would be pointing up in the air. That would make the club face open. We see a lot of that in our teaching. Most beginners will tend to do that because they're trying to get under the ball and lift the ball up. Believe it or not, we want the club face actually closing through the ball, not opening through the ball. Most people will open it because they're trying to get the ball up in the air. The golf ball gets up in the air by swinging down into the back of it and then through. So remember now, swing down into the back of the ball and allow the back of the left hand to rotate down to the ground as you're swinging through.